Alright, I see it is recording. Get this loading. Continuing in Mad Max, the key was originally provided by WB Games, WBIE, whichever it was, back when I originally reviewed the game. Got notes on stuff. And I also just want to... So I'm just looking to figure out... What? Oh, okay. I was very confused. It's like, why was that there? And now my brain turns off. I hate it when that happens.
Only the world didn't know you were a messenger.
Want that, so I can try to find that minefield in there. Since I'll be continuing to clear stuff out. Oh yeah,
Let's do this, dog.
So just... I've got jury duty next week. So I don't know, or this coming week. So I don't actually know what... yeah, I'll grab that. And then come down. Because of that, I don't really know what's going to be up with the stream next week, since I record these on Friday, since I don't trust my upload to actually stream it live on Saturday. Plus, that way I can take advantage of Audacity's auto-ducking. So yeah, I don't really know how my week is going to go next because of the jury duty. Yeah, so hopefully the jury duty won't be too disruptive, although it is definitely disrupting some things, I do know. Okay, I cannot be. The angle is messing things up. Because I keep hitting to block, and he just doesn't, and I'm completely blaming the angle.
Fight him, brother!
Alright, there we go. Come on. There we go. So yeah, it's... We'll just have to see what happens. And I'll start finding out today, actually. At least in this area, you call in to find out if they even want you to come down. So I might get lucky. And I might not. It really... So let me... Top thing that I have in my notes here is the situation I have with Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition. Because I know I mentioned last week in how I think at the time the last thing I got from Epic was them basically saying, "Oh, you don't have a copy of it." Yeah, I do. It's right here. But eventually, after it got elevated above the person I had been talking to, finally got the response that makes sense, that it's just the enhanced edition upgrade doesn't come to those who have the review code. We got the review.
Tight.
But fortunately, my PR contact was able to send me some keys. So I got the enhanced edition of the base game and the 2 DLC on the test system. And because of the jury duty, and because I also got it late anyway, I have no plans for current projects with it. I do have an idea for a project. I already collected some data for that, but it's going to take a while for me to get it done anyway. Just it and Series Sam 4 both support vapor ray shading, which is a very interesting technology, I think. And I want to, like I did with the anti-aliasing stuff a couple years ago now, I want to try doing research into it and then, you know, be able to share examples, both image quality and performance examples. Unfortunately, the data shows that there's something really screwed up with VOS in that game. Like, I had performance regressions from it. It's like, that shouldn't be happening. And I tried reaching out, but I haven't heard anything back on that yet. But hopefully I will. And this... This idea that this project will probably take me weeks or months to do anyway, so it's not too big a deal. And also, if I don't find anything out about what exactly is going on or with the performance there, I can always just, you know, hopefully find a different game. Like I saw Resident Evil 8, is it? Has VOS, so maybe that? Don't know. I'd have to buy that though. Don't have a Capcom contact, but that's okay. There's no rush, so I'm okay. But it still was quite annoying. I mean, it's... The annoying thing is it's just Epic Games Store is not really set up well for reviewing stuff, and it's just so annoying. I was like, I like that Steam has more competition now. I really do. But it still is... This could be a lot better in certain ways, where it's like, can you please, you know, come up with your own version of this? Of this feature that Steam has? So that there aren't... It isn't necessary for a reviewer to get a version of a game that you don't necessarily know if it will be updated along with the release version, the consumer version, just because apparently... I'm guessing it's that Epic doesn't have a way to lock access, to any content once it's in a library. So it's like, using Metro Exodus as the example, I got the key early. Why did I get in that one? Into?
Got a call for him now.
I got access to that early. At least I think I did. Pretty sure I did. But let's just say that was the case. Even if I'm wrong. There we go. That I got access to it early. It doesn't seem like there's any system set up with the Epic Games Store such that you can have it recognize that, oh, you have this game, and you get access to it, but these other people that also have it in the library don't have access to it. It seems like that's lacking, and I wish it wasn't. You know what? Sure. It's just getting the car body. I need to... I want to clear this area out anyway. Might as well just get it. But yeah, hopefully that's something that they'll eventually figure out with Epic Games Store, along with, like, screenshots. Having screenshots would be nice. As far as anything else, I mean, I haven't done, like, any comparisons to see, oh, is this so much better or so much worse visually than the original game. I will grant that with the 2060 that I haven't tested currently, performance did seem fine. Did seem good, so it's even without VOS or DLSS. And for anyone wondering, the DLSS performance was consistently better, whereas VOS it had the variance. Mainly when I was trying to play at 4K. Don't know why. And I had to enable 4K though with the dynamic super resolution in NVIDIA's feature. I want to explore all this first, then grab that. What else do I have on? So I think all that's left is the car body. There we go. Yeah. Because I need to be told this stuff at this point. So the Immortals Phoenix Rising DLC review came out. Which I'm definitely happy to see. I did enjoy those generally, but it's nice that it's like, hey, I can finally say some specific stuff, like how I wish that the Myths of the Eastern Realms was
Yes, gladly.
longer,
Sacred place.
covered more.
Round here, there's only one lad brawny enough to take for serious. Stump Grinder. Nasty doggy. Now I know for a flamin' fact that he just hates flickering flames and fire. Be a good way to deal him some suffering.
Alright. Dog. Yeah. Sorry, my focus kind of splitting.
More tools.
What have I got?
Our way.
Only got 2. I don't.
Gotta get in there.
Oh man. Especially now on a shot like that. And there's 3 of them. Oh wait. Well, that might get hit. It is dangerous. So I'm gonna do it. Actually, hey, let me mark this. There's a reason. There's a reason why I do it. But yeah, I generally did enjoy the 3 DLC, 3 expansions for Immortals Phoenix Rising. The third one, despite how different it was, and the fact that the camera really should be allowed to zoom in and out, was of the 3 the best. It's not perfect, but it was the best. Come on. Whoa, that was interesting.
Oh, holy, holy!
Perfect. Alright. I also submitted a review that hasn't gone live yet. Hopefully it'll go live for the Switches. And I talked about how I was going to work on the Switch in last week. For the Purple Panda Switch is what they're called. No, I doubt it. This they really are good Switches. I'm currently on some linears that are quite different.
Drag it in there! Shit! He's hunting for the big man! Kill this
There. But yeah, I was very, very happy with the Purple Pandas. At some point, I do want to do more keyboard builds in the future. I just, don't have a reason to. But I could definitely build a keyboard around those. There's so much. What else? Okay. Yeah, let's do that one. So, two of the things that I shared this week in the Friday video game thing were, a couple new teasers for Shadow Warrior 3, which, yeah, they're fun and interesting to look at, but I will admit, what? I'm looking forward to getting more from that game because so much of it seemed like all these teasers seem to be just arena content. And I really hope that the game is more than that. The other two games were certainly more than that, although, you know, the design of Shadow Warrior 2 was... It was really more focused on the action. Whereas Shadow Warrior 1, of the current crop, not like the actual classic Shadow Warrior. Yeah, that one was more story focused. So it wasn't just focused on the action. Not to say it was completely story focused, but it definitely had more of a focus on the story. Nice. But I am just worried because so much of this stuff is just straight. Come on. Ow. It's just straight like arena fights for that, so. But I mean, it's not out yet, so there's plenty of time for more stuff to be released to show that, nope, it is more than that. Then I got a couple of the AMD things, AMD pieces of news. One more interesting than the other, so going with the one that is, you know, probably less interesting for most people would be the, Radeon Rays 4.1 has been released. Which, Radeon Rays, which was originally Fire Rays. It's a, library for accelerating ray intersection, so it is in part, you know, for ray tracing. It's related to that. Fire Rays has been out for a while. Well, Fire Rays goes back to when it was still ATI. It goes back to before AMD's purchase. I'm pretty sure it's that old. If not, then it's about as old as the purchase.
Let me get my hands on you!
Not just yet. I was talking to the NPC. It originally, well, it had been part of, Radeon Rays had been part of the GPU Open Initiative, meaning it was open source, and it was also using OpenCL. Which in part was nice because that made it hardware agnostic.
Get ready!
Very hardware agnostic because it didn't even care if it was a CPU or GPU you were using.
Someone's gonna die!
Hey, you guys are throwing shit too. Yeah.
A walking scout. Welcome.
Do it this way. So it had been on OpenCL. They then changed it though with version 4 to support what the heck? to use Vulkan and DirectX 12 to support both of those. But at the same time, they also made it partially closed source. Partially closed it down because apparently there was certain AMD IP in there that they didn't want public yet. With version 4.1 though, that just released this week, it now has returned to being open source under the MIT license, which is, my understanding is of the, man, that makes no sense, is of the licenses, that is one of the different open source licenses you see out there, that I think is one of the more, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. I think the MIT license is along lines of, you can use it. It's basically that's it. There's no, it has few special conditions, but, you know, there can definitely still be some special conditions to it, because different licenses do have different special requirements, like attribution, sometimes also that it cannot be used for commercial purposes, things like that. And there have actually been projects that have been stopped just because of licenses not agreeing with each other. You know, like you could have something that is on an MIT license, another that's a GNU license, another that's I believe there's an Apache license as well. And just to be clear, it's not like these licenses from MIT, from Apache, from GNU. It's just like that's a reference to what the language is in there. But because of disagreements between licenses, you can't have software projects that can't move forward. I'm getting to drink water. OBS is actually an example of that. Well, at least used to be. Because OBS is open source, yes, but its license is sufficiently different from the license that was for accessing the AMD encoder, or at least it used to be, such that they couldn't build in support for the AMD encoder that's on the GPU. And it always had to be a plugin. Now they could install that plugin at the same time. That they actually did do.
Sir, you've killed your
But it's not
buddy.
the
Just so
not
I can pleasure
completely
myself with your twitching corpse.
Well, this will be fun.
To me, you are a thief, a greedy gambler, and I will enjoy you. You're back for my... That's wrong. Let me tell you.
I don't remember now. Was it one of my criticisms of this game that all these guys were basically the same? I did hit the button, it just, because I was also, like, turning it, the momentum caused the problem. No. No, I'm actually this. Get some health back. I just have 2 more things on the list, by the way. One is another piece of AMD related news. That is fairly important, actually. Ow.
Please make an infinite love is things. Break up there.
Okay, so what am I missing? It's like he clearly has no health.
Now I'll bring you to death. Come on, die here. I'm done fighting.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, the other AMD news is, and I saw this at an Antec, is apparently they have finished the 7th Amendment, and I didn't explain it quite that in what I wrote up. They've finished the 7th Amendment to the wave supply agreement with Global Foundries, which I tried to lightly explain what all that is in what I wrote up. AMD used to be like Intel in that it owned the ability to manufacture its own CPUs and such. It owned its own foundries, but it eventually sold off that capability because it was just too expensive for them, and they really needed the money at the time. And that's how Global Foundries was born. It was spawned off from AMD, and also I think AMD was still like part owner to it, maybe? That I don't quite remember. But it is still involved with it, and also had other partners then for it. Now, part of that spin-off, though, was that AMD would exclusively purchase wafers and such from it. Okay? That's what the wafer supply agreement was. Now, it has gone through amendments over the years, including one that was let's
so much water, and then it was gone. Only blood and oil now.
When Global Foundries pulled out of doing the leading edge stuff, the 7nm production, that prompted one of the rounds of editing, of amending the wave supply agreement, because that wouldn't be appropriate for AMD to be still tied to that. Exclusivity when they cannot be offered the most advanced technology out there. But as I recall, and it was kind of mentioned in the write-up as well, in Nantec's write-up, it did have the exception that a previous amendment after the whole Global Foundries not doing any more 7nm was to end the exclusivity, but only for more advanced nodes. It was basically if AMD wanted to make a 12 nanometer, 14 nanometer product, they still needed to go to Global Foundries for that. They had no choice. But for like 7 nanometer and better, because Global Foundries had... the heck? Doesn't offer a competing technology there. The exclusivity was... what the hell? I have no idea what is going on here. I'm just looking around for a history value. Yeah. Not sure if that would make it. With this new amendment, though, all exclusivity has ended, so now AMD can go anywhere, but they do still have to purchase so many, or have targets for purchasing wafers from Global Foundries. So it's not as simple as they don't need to go back to Global Foundries. No, they still need to go back and get stuff from Global Foundries, but it's not like it was. And that is a fairly big deal, because that does influence what will happen in the future for AMD's products and such. I'm going to look around once more here, just because it takes a while to get up, for the history. And then I'll head out. Well, not head out, but head down to check on other places. I doubt it'll be over here, but just in... I'm not going to go up the steps there. Oh, that's right. I did go right by it then.
I guess he must have made it then.
Alright. So last thing I got on my notes. Definitely a very interesting announcement to see, and I'm looking forward to what more comes of it. Galactic Civilizations 4 was announced, which I do enjoy. It's been a while since I played, but I do enjoy Galactic Civilizations 3. But this week, Stardock announced GalCiv 4 is coming, and it has got some interesting changes to it. Trying to think how best to really describe them. I guess there's two key ones. That from what I saw, I think that, you know, I would be inclined to say these are the critical ones. One is the size, the scale. Previously, yeah, let's pick that up. Let's take it. Previously, like Galactic Civilizations 3, but I think also 1 and 2 were, you know, star clusters. You know, so many stars around and planets around the stars. And that those maps were just generated for you when you started a game. Right? That has changed. It is now... So, yeah, go there, but I'm thinking I'm going to go straight to take care of that. Alright, there.
Tear that tire right off!
So instead of being just here's a star cluster, it's now going to be here's a star cluster, and here's how it connects to another star cluster, and another cluster, and another cluster. These are now called sectors. And that enables the game to actually be on a galactic scale, which is definitely going to be interesting to see. But it's also, at that scale, you can't have the player manage all that on their own. So they're going to a different... how they described it in the press release was a different metaphor, where it's a core world and colony world metaphor. I'm not sure if metaphor is necessarily the only word that you could use to describe that, but basically the design is colony worlds basically have no management. All they do is produce resources. those resources are sent to core worlds. And what distinguishes between them, if it's a colony or core world, is the presence of a leader that serves as the governor. Now, these leaders, these governors, each have their own AI. And this is the other significant change. And it's more than just these leaders, by the way. I think it said civilizations will have hundreds
This hideout.
or thousands.
What can you tell me about
Don't remember, no, sorry.
I don't know. Too many nooks.
What do you...
Tunnels and
Oh,
tunnels.
that's what sorry meant.
Better find the right one.
But hundreds... Yeah, let's just go with hundreds, because I'm confident in that one. We'll have hundreds of AI to them. So, an aspect of the game will just be managing, dealing with all these AI. Managing your interactions with them. Both for other civilizations and your own. And one thing that it unequivocally stated was, in the press release was they don't just want you to have to be concerned with external threats, but also domestic. I don't know how this is going to work right here. If I need to... If it is up. It doesn't look like there's anything down here. Yeah, it's got to be up. So, yeah, that definitely does leave me curious. I'm very curious in that. And because this is such a significant change, they're actually going to... Because Stardock has a long history of releasing their games in early access forms. Normally, though, it's in beta. For this, because of how significant the changes are, they're actually going to have it out later this spring or summer. I saw both. I saw in one spot spring, another spot summer, so in the next few months or so, it seems. They, they'll be releasing it in an alpha state. So that way feedback can be integrated more easily. Because in alpha, I'm trying to remember exactly how it breaks down. Because there is like the alpha and beta actually do have specific meanings in development. Whereas like alpha is not feature complete. I think technically beta is considered feature complete, or at least near that. I don't remember, but yeah, it's alpha access is going to be much more important, because that does mean that, oh yeah, we need to completely redesign this system here. You can actually do that at alpha. It's far less reasonable for that to happen at beta level. And I am also personally curious about the ability to... Could you have gameplay for that where you have no enemy AI? It's just your own civilization, man. Because I would do that. I would play that. That may sound silly or stupid, but I do think that that can be interesting, is just trying to manage it yourself. Trying to think of... There is a game where that actually is like part of how it works. But one thing also that did occur to me, and I do kind of sort of want to look into it, if only for the excuse to play the game, but I don't necessarily have the time to, is how the governor stuff worked in Pax Imperia, which is a classic 4X game. Very classic 4X game. That, you also had the governors kind of thing there, and you had different ways to control the colonies and such, so it's... I'm wondering how similar some of that might be.
Like the very earth was turning on us. Killing us.
I think I do remember changing out the governors for different purposes, for different reasons in Pax Imperia. I don't remember. I do have a copy because it's on GOG. And man, I really enjoyed playing that game all those years ago. Yeah, so I am definitely looking forward to GuestJim 4 and what that will bring, how that will be different, how that might be familiar, depending on how accurate my memory is for Pax Imperia. Yeah, that and Star Wars Rebellion are two classic 4X games.
The Warboy Horde drawing near!
That I greatly enjoyed when I was younger. Perfect.
Woo! No more long hurled lead for him!
I'm just thinking there's probably a secret way in. Oh, well, there's also just climbing up here. Okay, you know what? Since I know where the intel is, it's just down here. And I've cleared the perimeter defenses, I'll just go do that. Actually, I'll do that and make myself better equipped for this. But let me... Yeah, I think I got the time. We're a little bit over 40 minutes here. I think getting the intel going in there, I might be able to finish it at around an hour. I'm willing to give it a try at least.
The fuel tank! It's unprotected!
What else? There's actually one thing, but I'm gonna let him talk.
See that? They say the husk line there fell from the sky. Now the Mad Lord Scrotus has ordered his sick pups to set up their camp there. I know they've a hidden treasure just around the, what's it called, wing?
Okay. Oh. So my guess is I'm gonna have to go down to get to the other intel, but I will do it. I will do it. Yeah, one other thing that I saw that I found amusing. Over at Phoronix, they cover a lot of Linux news primarily, but they do cover other things as well. And one of the things that was covered, one of the companies that they like covering is System 76 that do open source builds and such. Like you can get a System 76 like workstation, and it even uses like open source firmware and such for the motherboards. They're very much into open source.
You look like death in a death ray, friend. You the one who spewed Destructo on the Red-Eye Graveyard? See? I got me some peepers. I spotted your car and knew. If you want to stick it to the mummy some more, then help us out rooting them out. We need some help with the goddamn explosives.
Okay. So that's...
I don't mean to question your saintly man.
That's not something...
The angel
Yep.
calls for our holy work to go.
Yes, I do want to do that, but it's not a high priority. So something that System 76 announced recently was their own open source keyboard, and it's like, you know, looking at some of this stuff, you know, looking at what Phoronix wrote up, it's like, yeah, okay, this is really not as significant as you make it sound. Although I will grant that one thing that is neat is it is a they're doing a lot of the manufacturing as much as possible. Some of it I doubt that they can actually do in America for certain reasons, but a lot of it is manufactured in America as opposed to being manufactured in China. Yeah, it will feature the Kale hot swap sockets, which is like what I have on the NK65 I'm using right now, and on the 1UP 60 HSE build that I got from 1UP Keyboards. Kale is a Chinese company, so I don't think you can get around Chinese manufacturing there. Oh, that's taken care of.
Shooter's empty!
But a lot of the other stuff being made in the US, yeah, you can definitely do that. And also there's one, yeah, it's a 75% board. It's gonna be like $290, which is kind of insane, but whatever. Prices vary a lot when it comes to especially custom keyboards. Does that technically would count as a custom, I think? If only because of some of the features, like it being hot swap. It does have, though, a built-in USB hub, which is definitely a nice feature. But yeah, it's a... I mean, I don't think I would bother reaching out, but I'd give it a shot as a review, but I don't think I'd buy it just because I'm happy enough with the stuff I have, and there's other things that I'd want to try first. Although I will also admit, one thing that is neat to see there is it has a split spacebar. Which you might be thinking, what exactly does that mean? What does that translate? Basically, instead of having a single long spacebar key, you have two smaller ones. And what's nice about that is you can then have different things programmed to the two sides. Now, obviously, a split keyboard design needs the spacebar to be split as well. But you can. I've also seen many ortho boards, ortholinear designs. They also have a They also have split keyboards, and in fact support multiple keyboard configurations. Where, like, you can have two 2U space bars there, a single 2U. I actually saw a build not that long ago where somebody had a 2U and a 1U next to it. But there's some people that's like, they love having the split spacebar because they can have, you know, like, one be space, the other be backspace. So yeah, I would be interested. I think I would still, even if I had a split spacebar, leave it as just two spaces. But it is still a very neat feature that a lot of people could enjoy. But still has been funny though to see some people reacting to. It's like, what design is this? What layout is this? There's no way this is usable. It's not possible. It's like, no, it actually. I'm completely comfortable on a 60% board. I've always used a full size, so going from full size to 60%, I didn't think I could do it. I'm very happy with the 60% board, the 60% layout, completely comfortable there. And it's also, I'm currently using 65%, so I don't have the function row on this, but with the Super 16 macro pad I built and wrote up a while ago now, I basically never need to go to a different layer on the main board, because I've got the four main, for me, navigation keys, the arrow keys, all right there. It's just function row and delete that I need to go to another layer for. And I don't use those that often. So it works out very well. But it definitely was funny. I also saw one place that wrote up about the keyboard announcement, and it was basically clear this person doesn't really know much about custom keyboards. It was talking about how, oh yeah, there's, you know, just 4 types of mechanical switches: red, brown, blue, and black. And it's like, what are you... And it's like, okay, you're just listing off what Cherry offers, and there's a lot more than that. And the person also describing it as, like, Cherry's the #1 manufacturer in the world. There's no one that makes better switches than them. Yeah, and this... It's called the Launch. The System 76 Launch is the name of this keyboard. It'll come with Kale switches. And they're like, yeah, and Kale's, you know, like, #2. But it's not Cherry. It's like, it's not as simple as that. It really isn't that simple. I think it's Box Jades and Box Royals? Which I don't know much about Royals. I do know Novel Keys sells them. Don't remember if one of them. I know you can get the Box Jades from both. I got the... Yeah, I think I might be able to get to that. Well, no, because of how it's hanging. This way. There we go. Good, I don't have to worry about it anymore. I know I got the Box Jades from Novel Keys, but I have also... You can also buy Box Jades from One Up Keyboard. Those are clicky switches. Quite noticeably clicky switches. Still enjoyable to type on. I actually did really enjoy typing on them. Even though I am not... I enjoy a quieter typing experience. There. That. But, oh man, it just, it's also funny how the person, because I did see a little bit of that right up on the thing, and it's, like, the praise being lavished on the open source firmware of the keyboard, but it's unclear on if, you know, this will be forked and used by others in any way, and it's like, okay, I looked, it does use QMK, so it's like, no, System 76 in no way made anything here for firmware, except for their own, like, the specific files to compile for that keyboard. They just forked QMK, and it's also interesting that they forked QMK for this. It didn't look like they just submitted their own keymap stuff to the larger QMK. And I'm not sure why. There are certainly some things where it does make sense, because there are certain features that might not be supported otherwise. Just trying to think, what is the mass drop, or just drop because they changed the name? Keyboards, I want to say, are, where's this last piece of scrap? Those do have certain things that make them non-standard with QMK, so don't think that they necessarily have the have their keymaps and such in base QMK. I know that it's non-standard. There it is. Non-standard enough that they can't have VS. But there is a desire to basically refactor the whole of QMK, and doing that would also enable the support for various features with the drop keyboards and others as well. I mean, it wouldn't just be to benefit drop, but yeah, it would be beneficial to many to do that, and there is the effort to do so. If I take care of that, I think I lowered the danger level, caution level, whatever it is, to 0. So I do want to do that. Because I think it is the last one in this week. But yeah, the launch, the System 76 launch, looks okay.
Let us crush it!
But it is just, you know, personally, I not what I would go for. Just maybe at one point in the past, I would have wanted to start there. But now that I know how comfortable I am with a 60% keyboard, no, I would not bother with, like, you know, oh my god, I gotta have 75% kind of thing. Although I will admit, when I was collecting data for, collecting data on the test system
Guardian's tent ready to honk and
I was thinking, oh man, how can I change the keyboard for that? The CK550, is that it? The Cooler Master keyboard that they provided me. Cooler Master provided me. It is a very nice keyboard, don't get me wrong, but man, it could use better caps. How do I get up? Is that how? That might be how. And I even have an idea for what I could do to get better keycaps on there. You know, not just because I don't use it enough to warrant buying a special keycap set just for it. Yeah, this is how I... Okay. But there are some keycaps I would like to try, so I could just, you know, like, order those. And then stick keycaps I'm currently using onto the Cool Master board. Excellent. That unlocks... yeah. That unlocks some...
spin along from here on.
There. There. I know I've got still plenty to do here, but I do need to be going. So let's head here, take care of upgrades, and then stop. I don't know if it's gonna throw me into... okay, it's not at the moment. Yeah, not quite an hour yet, so I'm comfortable with doing it. I don't think all I have to do... oh, wait, not... it's just this stuff. I don't remember what it was that unlocks by getting it down to 0. I know there was some... okay, this does... actually, because of how expensive it is, I don't want to do that just yet. Yeah, this'll actually be best to, because that's like giving me access to more, as opposed to just allowing me to do more damage to things that I already, you know, don't necessarily have the need to damage much. Oh. In that case, let's check this out. Where's this? That's still... same. This is why I like collecting everything first. And I really should look through. There we go. You know what? Sure. Because it is annoying when I have to deal with shield. Isn't... no. Well, I was hoping that there was a way to just clear all those.
Or people.
Still some. Oh no, there's... Ah.
I like the very so much. Buddy.
Okay, back. Alright. I'll try talking to Gigi. I doubt there's really any reason. Yeah. Alright. There. I don't care. Alright, yeah, that's good. The main menu. Alright, so that finishes off this one. And it will finish cleaning out that area. Especially because that way I will find the last of the projects. Because those will be beneficial, quite beneficial to have. Yeah, so next week is just gonna be weird. Because depending, I might lose like most of the week to jury duty. Or it might not be that bad. Don't know. Hopefully hopefully it won't be something where it's like I can't do recording. It might just be like at inconvenient times that I'd have to try to do the recording. But we shall just have to see how it goes. Alright, yeah. See you next time, which will either be next week if I have the time, or it'll have to be the week after if I don't have the time. We'll just have to see. Alright, see you then.